Our top story today is about Andrew Tate. He's making headlines again. A Romanian court has upheld the 30-day arrest of the banned social media influencer. He was arrested on charges of organized crime, human trafficking and rape. Tate was arrested last month along with his brother and two Romanian citizens. They stand accused of forming an organized crime group to exploit women. And now, according to a court in Bucharest, all four will be held in preventive detention for 30 days, while a probe into the matter continues. The Tate brothers are accused of recruiting their alleged victims. Reports say they misrepresented their intention to enter into a relationship with these women, and later these women were allegedly forced to produce pornographic content. This is what authorities in Romania are saying. The Tate's lawyer says that the brothers have rejected all allegations. To understand why this story has raked up global attention, we must understand who this man is. Andrew Tate. He is a British-American influencer. If you read up about him, you'll know that he's a self-proclaimed misogynist, someone who says he hates women. He also called himself a globetrotter, a playboy. He previously flaunted his wealth on social media and claimed to be the world's first trillionaire. His arrest is being headlined across the world, mostly because of the influence he had on social media, especially on teenage boys. His views propagated a dangerous brand of misogyny. He was earlier banned from Twitter in 2017 at the height of the Harvey Weinstein allegations. He suggested that women should bear the responsibility for being sexually assaulted. He was later banned from all social media platforms for his offensive remarks. He was allowed back in on Twitter by new owner Elon Musk. This was just a few months back. You may remember him more recently for his spat with climate activist Greta Thunberg, where he flaunted his wealth. He has now been banned from all platforms. But a little too late. He has influenced young boys into speaking in his words. We have brought you this story before, and not to our surprise, many who endorse his views criticized our viewpoint. Let us be clear, we support free speech and expression and know that everyone has a right to agree or disagree. But when you become a fan of someone who promotes toxic masculinity, it is a big concern. Andrew Tate routinely posted bitter diatribes about women. The former kickboxer influenced millions. So much so that some of his videos on social media have been viewed 12.7 billion times. Schools in the UK are very concerned about Tate's popularity. They want to re-educate the millions of impressionable teens who are brainwashed into seeing him as an idol. Tate's viewpoints are being adopted by young teens, teenage boys in particular. Tate marketed himself as hyper-masculine, a self-help guru who was living the trillionaire life. He encouraged millions of followers to treat women like commodities. He said they belonged in the kitchen. And this is perhaps the most concerning. He advocated controlling women through violence. When a public figure endorses such toxic views, it raises questions. How many are taking forward his legacy of hate? How many are implementing these views in the real world? Let's now put these questions to our guest. We have with us Dr. Anjali Chhabria from Mumbai. She's a psychiatrist and a psychotherapist and the author of the book, Death is Not the Answer. Doctor, welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you.
Now, the story of Andrew Tate is concerning for all of us. He promoted his brand of toxic masculinity. He told his followers to give him money and he would share his secret to success. Social media gave him a free rein. What does this say about modern-day role models?
So, you know what we are seeing today, it is media and social media that is ruling the space to influence minds. And that's how social influencers have become so popular. And what is happening is that these people are not only entering your bedroom, but they're also entering the minds of these young kids, who want to look at different opinions. Now, typically what happens is that the parents or the family or people around are telling you to, respect everybody. And here comes someone who grabs your attention because he's telling you something absolutely different.
Right.
And what happens to some of the disturbed minds is that this is what they're looking for, and that's what he's done. He's grabbed attention.
That's a very important point that you've raised there. He's grabbed attention. There's no denying it. There is outrage against him from some corners of the internet, I'll say that. But his following is huge, especially among impressionable teenage boys. What are the dangers of this?
So, absolutely, this is extremely dangerous, because what is happening is that what has taken us so many generations, to conquer, to get equality, to get these values out, that we want people to be treated as equal and not, encourage hate. Here we have someone who comes and says, oh, I'm successful and follow me, and then you have these young minds who are following him. And maybe just to grab attention, they may start coming up and saying, okay, this is what I believe, because everybody says the said thing or the done thing.
Right.
Everyone does the done thing.
Yeah,
so when you do
that's
something
a very important
different,
point that you've raised, because, there are also reports coming specifically from the UK, where teachers are now concerned that UK teenage boys are speaking in his language. They don't want to take their exam seriously because they want to get rich quickly. That is something that Andrew Tate propagated on his platform. So, how do you regulate this space, especially social media? I mean, he was out there saying all these things, nobody stopped him, and he aggregated a following of millions.
So I think, we have to conquer media by media itself. So social media also, we need to use social media not only to educate, but to discuss and debate with these kids. So what happens is, because they want attention, they are going to say and do things which are going to grab attention. So if we start engaging with them, in dialogues and discussing with them, I'm sure we'll be able to influence a lot of them. The other thing we really need to see is, who are these young minds? Are they disturbed? Are they depressed? Are they anxious? Why are they trying to grab attention? Of course, all teenagers go through a phase where they're trying to form their own identity. And that's when they look at different identities to emulate, to imitate. But the people who continue to do that, could be disturbed, could be depressed, could be victims of aggression themselves. And that is why these kids need attention. Under WHO studies say that 50% of all mental illnesses happen under the age of 14.
Right.
And if maybe we are missing out these kids who are disturbed, and that's when they are trying to attract attention to themselves and saying, okay, look at me, this is what I'm saying.
Right. Just a final question there, Doctor. Given your experience when it comes to troubled teenagers, in a world where there is so much focus on promoting free speech and expression, does Andrew Tate's popularity raise questions about the teenage minds in particular, the kind of anguish they're dealing with, the troubled minds that you've mentioned, and the kind of trauma that they might be carrying, that they see such men as role models?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We need to pay attention. And if there was one thing that I was allowed to address, I would address anxiety in teenagers, both girls and boys. And these are the discussions that we need to start having in schools, in colleges. And we need to understand what is making them so anxious, and take their help and take the help of media and social media to address their issues.
Right, Doctor. Thank you so much for all your views, and thanks for joining us on WION Fineprint today.
Thank you.
WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.